Today's tech news moves fast, but understanding it shouldn't be hard. That's why Snarful Solutions Group brings you Connecting the Dots, where we break down what's happening in tech and why it matters to you. Now, let's dive in with your hosts.
Welcome back to Connecting the Dots. I'm Alex. We're here to help you make sense of a tech world, cutting through the noise.
And I'm Morgan. It's Tuesday, September 30th, 2025. Lovely day shaping up here in Sacramento, though maybe a chance of showers later tonight, low around 62.
Yeah, it feels like the markets are sort of holding their breath, too. Yesterday was pretty flat, wasn't it?
Very much a consolidation day. The Dow Jones, well, it closed up just barely, 0.02%. S&P 500, pretty much flat, down 0.01%.
Okay. And Bitcoin? Still watching that one.
Bitcoin's down a touch today, about 1.00%, but it has been positive over the last week. So, yeah, feels like the market's just digesting things.
Which actually is a good lead-in, because our first story today is all about some major internal processing power in AI.
It is. But before we dive into that, we really want to thank our sponsor, Pins and Aces. Remember, that's pronounced Pins and Aces.
Right, they've got fantastic premium golf apparel and accessories. If you're looking to up your game, or at least look good trying, check them out.
Head covers, gloves, stylish polos, they have it all. Find them at pinsandances.com.
And here's the best part. Use our promo code SNARFUL, that's SNARFUL, SNARFUL at checkout, and you get 21% off your entire purchase. Pretty sweet deal.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's get into it. The Morning Star, our Snarful Tech article report. We've got 3 really critical stories today, big shifts happening.
Let's start with this AI coding race. Anthropic just dropped Claude Sonnet 4.5, and they're not being shy about it, calling it the, quote, best coding model in the world. That's aiming right at models like GPT-5 codec.
Yeah, you hear best thrown around a lot in AI, right? But this time, there might be something to it.
Yeah.
They're saying it's the strongest for complex agents, way better at actually using a computer, plus big jumps in reasoning and math.
Okay, strongest, best.
Yeah.
But it's still pricier than GPT-5, right? About $3 input, 15 output per $1 million tokens versus GPT-5's $1, $25, and $10. So why pay more? Is it just this crazy endurance claim?
That endurance is a huge part of the value proposition, especially for businesses. Yeah. I mean, think about it. Claude Opus, which was already good, topped out around, 7 hours of continuous work?
Yeah, something like that.
Sonnet 4.5. Anthropic says it can keep working on complex, multi-step projects for over 30 hours, continuously.
Whoa. Okay, 30 hours. That's not just helping write code anymore.
Exactly. That's the difference. It's moving from being a co-pilot to being more like an AI project manager. It doesn't lose track, doesn't forget step 1 when it's on step 20.
Right. It can push through errors, debugging.
Yeah.
It just keeps going.
And the example they gave in trials was pretty wild. Tasked with building an app. Okay, it wrote the code, fine. But then it set up database services. It navigated systems to buy domain names.
Wait, it bought domain names, like actually spent money.
Apparently so. And then, get this, after building the application, it performed a SOC2 security audit on its own work.
Hold on. It built the thing and then it audited the thing for security compliance. Are we talking about AI as the architect, builder, and the inspector now?
That seems to be the implication, yeah. Full cycle autonomy. And users get this power through the code interpreter in the Claude.ai web interface. They say it's more powerful because it can clone code directly from GitHub, install software packages like NPM or PyPI.
Yeah.
Real flexibility.
Okay, so it's not just theory. They showed an example, right?
Yeah.
Something about taking a simple database structure.
Yeah, linear chat structure in SQLite. And they asked Sonnet 4.5 to redesign it for complex branching conversations, like tree structures.
That sounds complex. Database schema changes, new functions, testing.
Oh yeah, deep stuff. It apparently made dozens of tool calls, generated a whole utility module, and wrote a 16-test suite for the new features. And it all passed. That's serious problem solving.
But if you give an AI power to buy domains, mess with code repositories, how do you make sure it doesn't, go rogue? The risk seems huge.
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Anthropic is really pushing their safety focus here. They released 4.5 under what they call ASL3 protections. Basically, strong guardrails to prevent it generating harmful code or being misused. Building trust is key if this thing is accessing real systems.
And they added tools for developers, too, like a VS Code extension and something called checkpoints.
Those checkpoints sound really useful, like an undo button for the AI's work state if it goes down the wrong path on a long task. Saves developers a ton of headaches.
Makes sense.
And apparently using these tools boosted performance by almost 40% in tests and cut token usage by a massive 84% on some tasks. That helps offset the higher price tag, makes those 30-hour runs more affordable.
So yeah, feels like we've definitely crossed the threshold. AI isn't just suggesting code, it's managing the whole project lifecycle. Which brings us nicely to our next story, doesn't it? If AI can handle buying domains, what about buying other things?
Perfect transition. Story number 2. OpenAI just launched Instant Checkout in ChatGPT. Big news for e-commerce. U.S. users can now buy products directly inside the chat. No need to click away to a website.
Wow, okay, that is a radical shift. Not just linking to a product page, but completing the purchase right there in the chat.
Precisely. It's powered by something called the Agentic Commerce Protocol, or ACP. Think of it like an open standard, co-developed with Stripe, that securely handles the whole transaction.
So how does it work? If I ask ChatGPT for, say, running shoes.
It'll suggest products based on what you ask for. Crucially, they say these are organic results, not sponsored ads. If a product supports ACP, you'll see a buy button. Click it, confirm your details, likely pre-saved via Stripe, and boom, done. Tokenized, secure.
Okay, my mind immediately goes to Google. This sounds like a direct challenge to their whole business model, which relies heavily on sending people to merchant sites via search results and ads.
You nailed it. That's the potential disruption. If ChatGPT handles the discovery and the transaction, that referral traffic Google monetizes just disappears for those purchases. It puts Google in a tricky defensive spot in commerce.
And who's using this initially?
They're rolling it out to all U.S. users. Free, Plus, Pro, starting with single item buys from Etsy sellers first.
Etsy, okay. Small start.
Well, yes and no. They're already expanding fast to major Shopify stores. Think Glossier, Skims, Spanx, Vori, big names. This isn't some tiny experiment. It looks like a serious push into the transaction layer.
And you called it the Agentic Commerce Protocol. What's the agentic part? Does it go beyond just clicking buy?
That's the long-term vision. The ECP standard is apparently built to handle more complex stuff later, like multi-item carts across different store subscriptions. But the really agentic future, that's where the AI might eventually initiate purchases for you, with your permission, of course.
Like, hey, you're low on coffee. Should I reorder your usual?
Or maybe even just doing it, if you've authorized it for certain things. Imagine the AI managing your pantry staples automatically.
Okay, that's moving from being a shopper to being a supervisor of the AI shopper.
Kinda, yeah. Which again brings up trust. Stripe and OpenAI are stressing that businesses keep control of the customer relationship and user payment info stays secure and tokenized. That trust has to be absolute for this to work at scale.
Fascinating. From AI architecture to e-commerce architecture. Now let's look at corporate architecture. Our third story is about a big change at the top of Spotify.
That's right. Founder and CEO Daniel Ek announced he's stepping down as CEO effective January 1st, 2026. He'll become executive chairman. And Spotify is moving to a co-CEO structure.
A founder stepping down always makes headlines. But this sounds maybe less dramatic than it seems. More like making the current setup official.
Exactly. The two people stepping up as co-CEOs are Gustav Soderstrom, he's the Chief Product and Technology Officer, and Alex Nordstrom, the Chief Business Officer. They've actually been co-presidents since 2023, reportedly running things together already. He's even said this just matches titles to how we already operate.
Okay, so it formalizes that split focus, one person driving product and tech, the other driving the business side, revenue, operations.
Right. It creates that clear separation, which can be really effective. They bring different strengths, but apparently share a strong bias to action, which Spotify probably values.
So what does Eek do as executive chairman? Is that just a title on the way out?
Doesn't sound like it. They're comparing it to a European chairman role, which often stays very involved strategically. Eek says he'll focus on the long arc of the company, big picture stuff like capital allocation, long-term strategy, mentoring the new CEOs. So still deeply engaged, just at a different level.
And he mentioned wanting to help build more super companies in Europe, too.
Yeah, kind of a cool personal mission. Suggests he's shifting from running one company day to day to maybe fostering a whole ecosystem, applying his experience more broadly.
How did the market take the news? Investors usually get nervous about founder transitions.
Yep, shares dipped initially, maybe down 5% in pre-market. Pretty standard reaction. But you have to look at the timing. Spotify just hit its first full year of profit after some tough years of restructuring, price increases, layoffs.
Right, they seem more stable now.
Exactly. So the transition is happening from a place of relative strength and stability, even with ongoing margin pressures. It feels planned, using that stability to set up a leadership structure they think works best for the future.
It's interesting. All three stories today are about fundamental architectural shifts. AI models getting way more autonomous, e-commerce changing how transactions happen, and even corporate leadership evolving.
Yeah, it really feels like companies across the board are rethinking their core structures to prepare for, well, whatever comes next. More autonomy, more efficiency.
Definitely. Okay, before we wrap up, let's quickly thank our other sponsor, Skoni. That's Skoni, pronounced Stony. They make premium golf shoes.
Great shoes. If you need comfort, performance, stability on the course, whether you walk or ride, Skoni's footwear is top-notch.
Check them out at skoni.com, skoni.procom. And again, use our promo code SNARFL for 15% off your entire order. Treat your feet.
All right, so let's just quickly recap the big takeaways from today.
Okay. First, AI coding just took a massive leap with Anthropic's Claude Sonnet 4.5, that 30-plus hour endurance. It signals AI moving into autonomous project management, maybe even deployment and auditing.
Second, how we buy things online is changing, maybe drastically. ChatGPT's Instant Checkout using that Agentic Commerce Protocol lets you buy right in the chat. It bypasses the old referral model, posing a real challenge to giants like Google.
And finally, Spotify's leadership is evolving. They're formalizing a co-CEO structure, splitting tech and business focus, while founder Daniel Ek moves to executive chairman, focusing on long-term strategy and maybe even building the next wave of European tech.
The thread connecting them all seems to be this move towards managed autonomy. In code, in commerce, even in the C-suite, things are definitely changing fast.
They really are. We're here to help at Smartful, so reach out on our website if you have any more questions.
That's a wrap on today's top stories. Remember, tech doesn't have to be complicated, and we're here to help connect the dots. If you've got questions or want to learn more, visit us at snarful.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.